On the morning of October 3, 1849, in a damp October rain, a printer named Joseph Walker was walking past a tavern in Baltimore called Gunner's Hall when he noticed a man slumped on a wooden bench outside. The man was filthy. He wore clothes that did not fit him, including a thin straw hat and a borrowed coat. He was barely conscious. When Walker approached, the man was able to gasp out a single name: Joseph Snodgrass. Walker recognized the name. Snodgrass was a local doctor and editor. Walker also recognized the man on the bench. It was Edgar Allan Poe, the most famous Gothic writer in America, the man who had invented the detective story, the man who had written The Raven. He was 40 years old. He was scheduled to be on a steamship to Philadelphia 3 days earlier. Nobody knew where he had been. Walker scrawled a quick note to Snodgrass and ran for help. By that evening, Poe had been admitted to Washington College Hospital. He never recovered enough lucidity to explain what had happened. 4 days later, on October 7, 1849, he died. The man who could solve any literary mystery left the world with the greatest unsolved mystery of his own life. 176 years later, we still cannot say with certainty how Edgar Allan Poe spent his final 5 days. To understand the strangeness of his death, you have to understand his life. Poe was born in Boston in 1809. Both his parents were actors. His father abandoned the family. His mother died of tuberculosis when Edgar was 2. He was taken in but never legally adopted by John Allan, a wealthy Richmond merchant. Poe spent the next 37 years failing in conventional ways and succeeding in extraordinary ones. He failed at the University of Virginia after running up gambling debts. He failed at West Point and was court-martialed. He worked as a magazine editor in Richmond, Philadelphia, and New York, brilliant in literary judgment, terrible in personal politics, fired or resigned from every position. He published The Raven in 1845. It made him instantly famous and almost no money. By 1849 he was a widower. His wife Virginia, his 13-year-old cousin when he married her, had died of tuberculosis in 1847. He was drinking heavily. He was trying to start a literary magazine. He was engaged to Sarah Helen Whitman in Providence, then unengaged, then engaged again to Elmira Royster Shelton in Richmond, his teenage sweetheart who was now a widow. On September 27, 1849, he left Richmond on a steamship bound for Baltimore. From there he was supposed to take a train to Philadelphia, where he had a paying editing job lined up. Then on to New York to fetch his aunt and bring her south for his upcoming wedding to Elmira. He arrived in Baltimore on September 28. He vanished. From September 28 to October 3, no one who knew Edgar Allan Poe saw him. No one received a letter from him. No witness has ever come forward with a credible account of where he was. He had over $1,500 in his pocket when he left Richmond. When he was found 6 days later, he was destitute. So what happened on those 5 missing days? Theory 1 is alcohol. Poe was a known alcoholic with a famously low tolerance. Even small quantities reportedly affected him severely. The conventional Victorian explanation was that he went on a 5-day bender, was rolled by criminals, and died of acute alcohol poisoning. The problem with this theory is that the attending doctor at Washington College Hospital, John Moran, explicitly stated in his medical notes that Poe did not smell of alcohol when he was admitted. Moran's later writings continued to insist that drinking alone could not explain the symptoms. Theory 2 is rabies. In 1996, a Maryland cardiologist named Michael Benitez reviewed the surviving descriptions of Poe's symptoms, including hygrophobia, hallucinations, fevers and chills, and tremors. He concluded the symptoms were a near-perfect match for advanced rabies infection. The rabies theory has the advantage of explaining the medical presentation.